years later, what if I've missed my shot? Alone out on the beach, where I sit and watch as my worried thoughts grow heavier than cinder blocks. I never should have put them back into their blister box. The flower children speak in tongues I don't understand. They drop acid, see the planets, sleep out in their parents' vans. I know that I don't give a damn, but I still gotta sit and watch as everything goes back into its blister box. An old man is crying on the subway right next to me. He reads the New Testament and highlights the entry. See, I feel bad for him, but hear music in my mind, he looks familiar. I think I see the future in his eyes. Someday I'll be there on my birthday with a prayer for my mistakes as I tally mark my failures with the candles on my cake. I lived a quarter century longer, and with flowers in their hands, my friends will mourn the way I always turned my hours into sand. And I heard ambulances roaring through that sentimental night. I wish that I could be just like them, go and save somebody's life. Instead, I'm in my girlfriend's bed trying to spark a fire so we can make our misery as urgent as we want to. I wrote plays when I was younger, now I just play dead. I'm always acting out some famous role I thought of in my head. And when I found out there's no script to the restless pace of life, I emptied out that auditorium. I stayed inside and cried as my stepdad's got problems, my ex-girlfriend's got wedding rings, my friends turned into atheists. They don't believe in anything, and I'm still waiting on a tidal wave to kill us first, to bring our heightened sense of selfish self-importance down to earth. These days I keep a straight face, I don't really count my cards, and on the nights that I don't drink, I look for proof of who we are. The rain reminds me of the girls that dried the river in my heart, so I obsess over the weather as the veins spin on their barns. I wanna wake up with the sunlight like when I knew who I was, and I first slept with a twin on two twin beds that touched. I almost joined the 27 club when I was 21. I always had my calculations wrong. Someday they're gonna board my first bedroom up, and I'll come back home and spill my guts out like a fresh wound does. Maybe I don't really give a damn, but I still gotta sit and watch as everything goes back into its blister box. I've got friends across the country now and friends over the border. They rent houses in their silver towns, apartments by the water. But no matter how big the circles are that I belong to, it doesn't make the world get any smaller. I still prefer to write the ending first, then work backwards every day, typing on a typewriter like the dawn of 7th grade. I go back in time, print the words I really meant to say, whatever I can do to make them turn physical. I should have been a teacher, should have drank my coffee black. I should have flown to Colorado, or at least called her a cab. I could have been a perfect boyfriend, I should have been a dad. I could have raised a kid with all the confidence I never had. The young professionals get dressed for work by their minute clocks and call me on their lunch breaks, cause everything is still at odds and I don't really give a damn. But I still gotta sit and watch as everything goes back into its blister box. So we pass over the city somewhere in a speeding train, but my friends can't remember any reason that we came. They speed up the speed of life as it's speeding through their veins. I heal in slow motion as I grieve a season late, and I feel like nobody cares about the dreams that keep me sane, and nobody sees the pattern in the streams that leave the plain. So I let it all dissolve, hope we'll end up better off, and watch the tea leaves spin in their cup at a restaurant. 20 years later, what if I've missed my shot? Alone out on the beach, where I sit and watch as my worried thoughts grow heavier than cinder blocks. I never should have put them back into their blister box. 20 years later, what if I've missed my shot? Alone out on the beach, where I sit and watch as my worried thoughts grow heavier than cinder blocks. I never should have put them back into their blister box, but I did. 20 years later, what if I've missed my shot? Alone out on the beach, where I sit and watch as my worried thoughts grow heavier than cinder blocks. I never should have put them back into their blister box. 20 years later, what if I've missed my shot? Alone out on the beach, where I sit and watch as my worried thoughts grow heavier than cinder blocks. I never should have put them back into their blister box. 20 years later, what if I've missed my shot? Alone out on the beach, where I sit and watch as my worried thoughts grow heavier than cinder blocks. I never should have put them back into their blister box, but I did.